like to have a candle in relation to a genocide of people that was only just 2 years ago is, the word insensitive is an understatement. And I think there is a prioritizing of Americans, of Nigerian Americans who grew up in America completely with Nigerian parents, speaking on Nigerian culture, than there would be for someone who just got here from Nigeria. I can't, if this whole thing was planned, the worst group after Satan to be attacked by is the Nigerian Twitter, like.
Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to? There is nothing I can say.
Hi, welcome to Maya's World. Hi everyone. So I want to thank everybody who was showing love in my last video. I felt really affirmed by the comments. I'm happy that people were able to see my point of view, and I was really proud of myself for communicating in a way that was like not so reactive, not so triggering for myself, because sometimes with making content, I realized that you could be like having a good day and then you see something and it really like makes you angry, and I tend to just speak on that, but I'm trying to like not let it rile me up. I don't want the girls to get the satisfaction of knowing they're making me mad. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to like calm myself a little bit. Today's topic is going to be something that I feel really impassioned about. We are going to be talking about Jackie Aina. We're going to be talking about influencer, make it capitalists, and we're going to be talking about diasporic people and the division between diasporic and Africans on the continent. Boom. So for those who don't know, Jackie Aina was trending yesterday. Well, my yesterday. So Jackie Aina is a YouTuber. I'm sure you guys have seen her. She's been around for like 10 years. One of the OG YouTubers. She has a candle line called Forever Mood, and she has released a set of candles called Owambe, which in Yoruba means like a celebration, a party. At first, you know, the first couple names was, you know what I'm saying, be cute. She was having one called, what, No Wahala. Like, it was supposed to be all about embracing her Nigerian side. If you guys don't know, Jackie Aina is half African-American. I think her mother's African-American and half Nigerian. Boom. So she had a candle that was called sorosoke, which I don't know if you all know, but sorosoke is a phrase that means, like, roughly translates to speak up. It was associated with the NSARS movement. The NSARS movement was a movement that happened in 2020 between SARS, which is like a type of police force. They're mad violent. They're mad violent. So sorosoke is a phrase associated with the NSARS movement. It's not up for interpretation. It's heavily linked to the genocide that happened between the Nigerian police force SARS and the local people who were being murdered. I don't know if she had posted it thinking she ate, but the girlies was mad. They was in the comments telling her that this is really offensive, as they should be, as they have every single right to be, because it is offensive. Like, to have a candle in relation to a genocide of people that was only just 2 years ago is, the word insensitive is an understatement. So people was writing, Shorty was deleting comments, allegedly. That's what people were saying, that she was deleting some comments and she was ignoring what people were having to say. What also didn't help through this is that Jackie Aina has already a past with upsetting Nigerians on the continent, because during the NSARS protests, when things were happening, people were urging her to speak up, and Jackie Aina, I think, was really delayed to speaking up, or she didn't, and then she ended up putting out a line of candles called NSAR. I don't know. It was making people mad. And I feel like that was the first kind of shots fired in the air. I feel like there's an undertone of anger that Nigerians on the continent feel towards some Nigerian diasporic Americans or Westerners because of how we engage with the country, because of how when it comes around for Christmas time, we will be posting the pictures, we'll be laughing, we'll be kikiing. But when it comes to any kind of disparity, struggle, hardship, we are often very quiet. After Shorty was getting drugged online, she decided to put up an apology statement, which I'll put here. And it's really interesting because I have a friend, her name is Tochi, and she was trying to explain like the similarities of what this would be equivalent to. And she tweeted, she said, Jackie Aina's word choice is the equivalent of an African-American beauty influencer naming a candle, in parentheses, I Can't Breathe, as a part of a collection they named called The Cookout. Jackie Aina is getting drugged by Nigerian Twitter. And it's like nobody has the goal. Like, if this whole thing was planned, the worst group after Satan to be attacked by is the Nigerian Twitter. Like, you will never see the end. And she went there. Potentially people are willing to sell anything to, you know what I'm saying, get money, even when you already have money. Like, just the attachment of putting your brand onto whatever you can kind of grab a hold of. I don't know why she didn't call it Party Jollof or... All of this also speaks to the fact that there is a different lived experience and a different reality of being a diasporic Nigerian versus being a Nigerian on the ground, being a Nigerian on the continent, being an African on the continent. Like, there is a very different reality for both people. I feel like mentioning class during this is also important too, because it makes me wonder who she's around, because I'm just like, are you around Nigerians who are so removed that they don't understand that that phrase is associated with the NSARS movement? Is it that you're just not around Nigerians in general? But then, you know, when you think of Nigerian culture, you just think about the celebratory aspects of it. But I feel like the fact that there has been beef between Nigerian Twitter and Jackie Aina, not just one time, but now coming up to seconds, it makes me think that she's not like... she's trying to take that capitalistic, you know, get your money, sis, to any degree. And it's pissing people off. It makes people mad. I became really aware of that when I moved to Nigeria and I decided to live there. And I was living there for a year up until two months ago when I had to come back home to Atlanta because my dad was sick and I needed to support my family. And so prior to that, my experience of seeing Nigeria through the whole seasons, 12 months, is very different than people who I think come for Christmas and spend 3 weeks or a couple weeks and have fun in Nigeria and then they leave. But it's something that I don't speak on. It's not my place. I don't, you know, and when NSARS was happening and people like Nigerian Americans who were, you know, but showing their Nigerian pride when it's time for the celebration, but not speaking on the murders. And, you know, in Nigeria, it was just so loud that all people were talking about was SARS. So people to be posting pictures of them riding bikes, if you already know who I'm talking about, posting pictures of them at parties being like, I'm so proud to be Nigerian, but you're not speaking on it, it's of course going to trigger people. It's of course, like, I wish people would address that time as a triggering experience for a lot of people. And, you know, the truth is that this once again discusses things with privilege, because having an American passport, being an American citizen, America is an imperialistic country. So by being a citizen of that country, I get the perks of being from a country that's imperialistic and has destroyed other countries for capital. I'm still on the receiving end of the things that come with that, the privileges that I have with that, right? Versus a Nigerian who only has a Nigerian passport, which just having a Nigerian passport in itself is so difficult. But being a Nigerian person who only has just an experience of a Nigerian reality, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. And not only because of, like, you know, having access to America, having access to the West, let's say that, because Britain, Belgium, Germany, it's all the same. That is leverage. For those who are new to my channel, I moved to Nigeria a year ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago. And I wanted to create a relationship to Nigeria separate from myself. So I went there as an individual by myself, trying to figure out how to exist in this country. And what I had seen in that 1 year was like so tough. And it was so tough even with the perks that do come with being an American. So I can only imagine what the reality is like for someone who is on the ground. And I think there is a prioritizing of of Nigerian Americans who grew up in America completely with Nigerian parents, speaking on Nigerian culture, than there would be for someone who just got here from Nigeria. Not to mention that I think because Nigerian Americans grew up in the West, there is this like desire a lot of people have felt to prove that Africa is quote unquote just as good as the West. And by doing that, what ends up happening is that we showcase wealthy Nigerians to say, well, look, our houses back home can be as big as the houses in the West, knowing damn well that is not the reality of majority of Africans. But it's like, I feel like they don't even want to focus on the negative things that do happen in on the continent because they don't want the Westerners to think that their country is shitty. And obviously it's really complex. Like I am not going to prove to anyone that Africa is not a jungle. If anything, you think it's a jungle, it's even better for me. And then another part of me is like, is this something that you expected to get backlash? You expected to pull it back, and then you expected your brand to kind of grow? Because, you know, I didn't used to think people would do this, but something that I'm learning and have just seen is how people use negative media, negative marketing to push their brands, to make themselves, you know, to kind of stay relevant. And I really hope that somebody wouldn't use, you know what I'm saying, a murder of people to stay relevant, especially people that are your own. I'm hoping, but I don't know. I want to know what you guys think about that. If you think that it's something that she did, like something that was done for marketing or something that it was done just out of mistake. Thanks for watching. Bye.